Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, coming at you with another hot video. Today we're going to talk about the working class, the middle class, and the rich. The working class, the middle class, and the rich, and why the rich get richer and how they use institutional money, an institutional trader, to actually make their money grow. You see, if you grew up working class, you're taught to trade your time for money. If you grew up middle class, you're taught to trade your time, education for money, and how to put money to work for you. But if you were rich, you would have the expectation that money is automatically going to work for you. So let's go to the stock market. You know, the number one question I get all the time on the Wealthy Investor Facebook page is, how should I get started in investing? And one of the things that I always recommend is choose a company you know, and choose a company that's a member of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, those top 30 stocks that are the most conservative thing in the stock market. A lot of times people want to get started trading and investing, and they want to do it in risky companies that are two, three, $4, $5 a share. That's absolutely the worst thing that you can do. So we're going to look at a Dow component here today, a company called Verizon, ticker symbol VZ. And what I've pulled up here in Yahoo Finance is a 5-year chart of Verizon. Now, why does this make sense if I were just starting out? Because Verizon today is around $49 a share. I could just buy 3 shares or put $500 in a brokerage account and get started that way. Or it's a company that I know. If I have a cell phone bill, if I'm using them for the internet, it's a story that I understand. I won't talk too much here about fundamentals because we'll save that for another time. But look at what happened in Verizon stock over the past 5 years. If you had just bought 100 shares at $30 today, you would be very happy because those shares have risen quite nicely. This stock is clearly on its way to 60, although Verizon is a slow mover. All right. But here's what I want to point out to you. See, if you're middle class, and if you came from a working class background, you have no expectation that money actually works for you. But if you came from a upper class or a rich background, you would expect to buy stocks and have them make money. I want to point this out to you. You see this chart here of Verizon? This is a 3-month chart, just the last 3 months of what the stock has done. You'll notice that it is on the rise. Now, I'm not telling you to run right out and start buying Verizon shares. It's a member of the Dow. Most Dow components rise over time. But the real reason is I want you to think about your thinking and what you believe to be true and what you fear and what you trust. If you're working class, you tend not to trust the concept that money works for you. If you're middle class or upper class, you know that money should be working for you. And who do the rich use to help make their money make money? Institutional traders. Okay? And institutions, you see this section down here that says millions, right? So if we look at this number, each time we see one of these lines down here, these are shares that are traded in 20 million share blocks and 20 million shares. Now let's go back up here to Verizon. If I buy 100 shares of Verizon, that's $4,900 that I am investing. If I put up 1 million shares of Verizon, that'd be $49 million. Well, look down here at how many shares are being traded in Verizon. You'll see several 20 million share blocks. This is why the rich get richer, because they put money into things that make money. Let me see if I can zoom in here. Maybe if I pull up a 5-day chart, it'll be a better illustration. You see, making money and becoming wealthy is all about your expectations. And if you have no expectations in life that money is supposed to make money for you, then guess what? You wind up working for a living, and that is not where you want to be. This is the last 5 days, pulling this up in real time. Look at this. This is a 2 million share block. This is a over 3 million share block. Another 1 million shares down here. And everything here is between, 100,000 and 1 million shares. So could you imagine that there are people out there or institutions that trade companies like Verizon with 1 million, 2 million, 5 million, or what? 20 million share blocks? Let's go to another company. If you were just starting out and you wanted to dip your toe in the water, how about a company like Nike? It's a Dow component. If you started buying shares, people always think you have to get started with some extraordinary amount. What if you just bought 10 shares of Nike? It's a story that you own, a company that you're familiar with, right? You notice that if you bought your shares of Nike, even at $50, less than 5 years ago, they're worth what? $74. That's a 25% increase. If you're working class, you tend to not trust the stock market because you have no expectation that your money should be making money. If you're middle class, you sort of trust the stock market. So you put your money in a mutual fund, which is the worst thing that you can do because that's nothing but a basket of stocks that's you let someone else choose for you, and you don't get paid if the stocks rise because they fee you to death in a mutual fund. If you want to be wealthy, you must learn how to own stocks like Nike and Verizon individually, and you can open a trading account. It costs you nothing to open a trading account, but we really have to start to change our thinking and our expectation if we'd like to have financial freedom. Which brings me to Disney. Now, this is a 6-month chart of Disney, also a member of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Notice the stock's performance over the past 6 months. We've had a little dip down here, and then it's up on the rise. That's because Disney basically owns everything. And as I always tell you, the parking lot at Disney brings in hundreds of millions of dollars as well as merchandising. But look at the stock's performance over the last 6 months. Who's in it? What a surprise. Big money. If you want to move ahead financially in your life, you have to change your mindset, you have to change your expectations, and you have to put money to work for you. This is all free on Yahoo Finance right here. I'm not even making this up. Look at this. This is 10 million shares. This is a 5 million shares. Look at how many blocks of 5 million shares have been traded as I scan across this line, and we jump up to one block of 20 million shares. These are all wealthy people's money being put to work. When you are wealthy, you have the expectation that your money will make money. When you're middle class, you buy Disney stock and you hold on to it and you never think about selling it. If you're wealthy, you have the expectation that the money will make money and that these shares will grow, but you know at some point you're going to sell some of your shares to do what? Finance your real estate and your lifestyle. This is why the rich get richer. It's because we can actually see them at work in this 5 million share blocks. Look at that. Now, those again are institutions that are putting their money to work for very wealthy people. If we start investing on our own, look at the 5-year chart of Disney. Don't put your money in stocks that are risky. The less money that you have, the lower the risk. You want to be in what? You want to be in a Verizon. If you have less money to trade and invest, you want to be in a Nike. These are companies that you know. You want to be in a Disney. Now, let me point this out because again, if you are filled with fear and trust issues, you will never be successful financially. You'll never have financial freedom. But if you open up your mind and you get an education, just like you're watching this video right now, there can be a shift in your belief, just like there is with the wealthy people. Here's my final part of this lesson, and I gotta leave you with this. Disney is currently trading. The market is open at the time that I'm making this video, so you may see these numbers change just a little bit. Trading at $83.07. It is on its way above 100 because once stocks go above 100, the retail investor drops out, you and I, and the institutions generally take over. So they run the stock from 100 to 150. And if I'm wrong, we'll see what happens in 12 months. But when it's over 100, you go, that guy's pretty smart. Imagine if you just bought your shares. Now, this is January 2012. If you bought 1,000 shares of Disney, that'd be $40,000. Forget about being working class. We have the expectation that money is going to go to work for us. We dropped $40,000 in a well-established company like Disney. $40 twice, which is 100%, is 83. Do you see how your $40,000 would be now worth twice as much? $40,000 would be worth twice as much because the stock has doubled. This is why the rich get richer. And if you want one more look down here. This is 50 million shares. Look at all these smaller 1 and 5 million share blocks. This is why the rich get richer. My hope is that you open an account, that you get inspired, that you see that there are terrific opportunities in the stock market, just staying with those conservative companies, that you can do it yourself, start creating wealth, and change your life. This is Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, saying thank you for having an open mind.